Who Jesus is to me, Jesus is peace to me. A little over a month and a half ago, my family had a pretty traumatic and scary event happen. My son Ledger, who's 3 years old, was life-flighted to Vanderbilt. The ER doctor thought he might be having a stroke. As I kissed my wife and son goodbye as they were getting loaded on the helicopter, I couldn't go because there's a 200-pound weight limit, and your man likes to eat. So I had to hop in my car and make that hour-long drive to Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. As I was driving there, I was dealing with fear, shock, and I was pleading with the Lord, please don't let Ledger be having a stroke or anything serious. And then an overwhelming sense of peace came over me. And the Lord reassured me that regardless of what the outcome was going to be, regardless of what the diagnosis was going to be, my family was going to be okay. John 14:27 says, or Jesus actually says, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives. Don't let your heart be troubled or fearful. So Jesus gives us peace. And what kind of peace does he give us? Is it based on a doctor's report? Is it based on our finances? Is it based on relationships with others? No. You can get sick. You can spend all your money. You can lose all your money. And you can lose the ability to make it. And people will let you down. But Jesus gives us his peace. My peace I give to you, Jesus says. Well, what kind of peace is that? Philippians 4:7 says, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. A peace that surpasses all understanding. An unfathomable peace. The type of peace you can have when storms are raging all around you and you can find rest and sleep. The type of peace you can have when your son is in a helicopter heading to a hospital because they are fearful he might be having a stroke. The type of peace that isn't based on what we see, what we hear, what we feel, or even what we think. The peace of God doesn't change. It doesn't change when the winds change. The peace of God is constant and everlasting. It's the same in the good times and the bad times. Hopefully Pastor Charles will approve, but last week he spoke of two types of Christians. Well, there are two other types of Christians. There's thermometer Christians and thermostat Christians. Thermometers are affected by their environment or circumstances. They move when the weather changes. But thermostat Christians, they change and control their environment. They don't allow the weather to affect them. God's peace is that thermostat. So how do we get this peace? There's two things that I know of. One, his word, or his truth. Psalms 119, 165 says, great peace have those who love your law, and nothing can make them stumble. His law, his word, his truth, our Bible. We need to read it, we need to know it, and we need to love it. His word is full of promises of peace. Psalms 29:11, Isaiah 54:10, John 16:33, just to name a few. Second, seek his face, focus on him. When I want to see the Lord, especially during times when I'm worshiping or going through some trials, I actually close my eyes and I look for him and I see his face. And then I see his eyes, and when our eyes lock, just an overwhelming sense of comfort comes over me. It's the same as when a child is scared or is hurt, and they call out for their parent, and then their parent comes around the corner, and then they lock eyes and they see each other, and the child is just so comforted, knowing that everything's going to be okay. You know, when you focus on something, the bigger it gets. So if you focus on a problem, the bigger it'll get. And then you walk down this road and you look up and all you can see is the problem. And you can't imagine how you're going to get over this. But if you focus on Jesus, the bigger he gets. and then the smaller the problem will get. So some of you might be asking, what happened to Ledger? Well, I don't have time to really get into it because I've been given an allotted amount of time that I'll be very respectful with. But my wife, Erica, she posted a testimony on the Southview Women's Prayer page, or you can feel free to ask me after the service. I'll be more than happy to tell you. But it's been a journey. It's been full of twists, turns, and many tests. There's even an early indication of B-cell lymphoma, which is a form of cancer. But at the end of the day, Jesus healed Ledger.
Come on.
So Jesus is peace to me, and I pray he can be peace for you. Thank you.